today we will learn a new way to deal with asynchronous function calls in JavaScript in this video. As service-based architectures become more popular, they realized we needed more ways to deal with asynchronous functions in JavaScript. Async and await are two relatively distinct methods of dealing with asynchronous functions. I hope you remember our last application that we have written using promises, right? Now we are going to rewrite the same application using async and await instead of using promises. Okay. Similar to our previous promise example, we have created an HTML file where we have created a div with an ID info and a button get info, and we have also referenced our JS file over here. Okay, using the script tag. Within our JS file, we are going to reference this button get info using document.getElement by ID. Okay, next we are going to add an event listener to this button's click event. So button get info dot on click corresponds to our get response function. Now in case of async await, we need to use the keyword async in our function signature. So async followed by our function keyword followed by a function name, that is get response in our case. As for the parameters, they are optional. Here we are not going to require it, so we are going to exclude it. Okay, I've missed the equal sign over here, my bad. Next we are going to create our zip variable using document.getElement by ID, where we are going to extract our value that is being input by the user, as we have done in our promise example too. Okay, next we are going to create our zip URL variable, where we are going to put the URL from where we are going to extract our data. So if our function is labeled with async, then we can use await for the asynchronous processes within that function. Okay, now next we are going to create a response variable where we are going to await the fetch. So basically we are awaiting the fetch returns the promise, and then we are taking that return and we are making it into JSON on line number 8, assigning it to data and passing that data to display results. Now once the data is passed to display result, we are passing it just as we did in the promise example. So we are going to get out of the JSON the place name, that is the state, and then we are going to post that to getElement by ID info.inHTML. So we are creating our output string with h1s and then assigning that to the info div. So let's check this out. Let's enter a zip code and click on get info, showing us West Bengal. Again, over here we can see this data in the console. This is actually this console.log data. Okay, so now let's have a look at this. Let's expand this. So over here we can see the entire information. Okay, the entire data. And now if we want to specifically know the exact place in the state, here we can see that the district is actually giving away, actually providing the required information about the exact location. Okay, so what we are going to do is that we are going to extricate this information from our data into another variable. Okay, what I'm going to do, just above our state variable, we are going to create the district variable. Okay, and we'll put this data 0.post. Let's check data and this post office. Okay, so post office 0. In this case it's the district. Okay, in case of state it was the circle, in case of, and in this case it's district. Okay, now let's put it, and let's just append this data to. So what I'm going to do is just take this district, stick it over here, and for appending I'm just gonna change this equal sign into plus equal sign. Okay, so now let's enter zip code and click on get info. Bingo, it's showing us Kolkata and West Bengal. Now what we are going to do, we are just taking this line of code into our display result function. Okay, the one we had commented till now. So we're going to uncomment that portion, that is uncomment line number 10, and go ahead with defining our display result function. Okay, now we'll move this entire code actually from line 11 to 11 onwards. From line 11 onwards, we are going to move the entire code to a display result function. Okay, and let's save it and go ahead. So now we are going to enter our zip code, say 400021. Okay, and click on get info. Bingo, it's showing us Mumbai, Maharashtra. As we can see, this syntax is cleaner and easier to read. And of course, the most important point to be noted is that the function signature has to have async in it. Okay, that's all for today. Let's meet with a new topic in our next video. Till then, happy coding!